Jim Hopkins, and then Woods.
Dusty Green and
Michael Select.
Yeah, all right.
City.
Super Riverside.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here today. That's what we wanted to start with, was introductions to kind of get an idea of who everybody was, where they're from, how they're invested in the community. One extra piece of information about me: I am the program coordinator for Livable Neighborhoods here at the NRC. So we work with residents and registered neighborhood groups to basically solve problems in the community. I'll turn it over to Alyssa now.
Awesome. Hi, everyone.
I skipped Alyssa.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry.
My name is Alyssa Marcy. I'm the long range planner for the unified government. Crystal
I'm Crystal Betters. I'm our public information officer with the Unified Government.
and Roger, can you hear us? I don't know if he can hear us.
I can't hear you. Yes.
Perfect. Can you introduce yourself real quick?
So my name is Roger Weber. I'm with Skidmore, Owings and Merrill. We are the consent hired to help lead Plan KCK, comprehensive plan. So working very closely with Alyssa and Gunnar, and very eager to just listen in today.
Thanks.
What was the name of his company?
It's SOM.
SOM Consulting?
Yes. Thanks, Roger. And can you introduce yeah, if you don't mind.
Hi, my name is Mina Chappelle. I'm a neighborhood liaison with Livable Neighborhoods, and I'm in Cathedral Neighborhood.
Oh, and I'm in Rosedale. I forgot to do that too. But thank you all for coming. I would say by far this is the most people that we've had. Steadily been growing and growing every time that we've had this. So very exciting. Just by a show of hands, how many people have been to a pizza and planning meeting before? I know I see some familiar faces here. Okay.
A lot of newbies.
And newbies, raise your hands. Okay, awesome. So I'm just gonna give you a real quick crash course on what this is, and then we're gonna move on to what we actually want to discuss today. There's some chairs over here. And not to put you on the spot, but do you mind telling everyone your name and which neighborhood you're from?
Okay, I own a polling service and I live in Hyderabad.
So like Roger said, so this is part of our comprehensive plan, which is named Plan KCK, and pizza and planning is essentially where our internal staff meetings in the planning department, in partnership with some of our other UG departments, that we flipped inside out and we opened to the public because we wanted this entire process to be collaborative with the community. We wanted you to be part of it from the get-go and see how it kind of, turns into its final project. So this is us really inviting you to the table to see how the sausage gets made. So this is our fourth pizza and planning meeting. We started off talking about shared values. We got a lot of feedback about, bringing everyone to the table. 2 weeks ago when we had our last meeting, we actually had a group of community members who gave us feedback on the consultant's presentation from last week. So if any of you attended the Vision Summit last week, we actually did a beta test of the activities here in pizza and planning, got feedback from the community. So with that, I'm just going to give you a little summary of what happened at the Vision Summit last week. And then we're going to dive into what we'd love to get feedback from you about. So did anyone attend the Vision Summit last week? Awesome, great, thanks for coming. So the Vision Summit was essentially our economic development piece, right? The comprehensive plan covers a lot of things. It covers housing, economic development, historic preservation, food systems, environmental justice, all of this stuff, right? But last week was very much so focused on economic development. And so the crux of our summit was figuring out what kind of economic development we wanted to see in the county. And that was the exact activity that we had beta tested here the week before. So essentially it's looking at, do we want to have more concentration? Do we want to focus on our urban core? Do we want to expand like we're doing westward with the Legends? Do we want to let the market forces determine how our economic development is progressing, or do we want to have more intentional investment and choose what kind of companies we have or what kind of development we have, right? And what are all the combinations in between? So broadly, based on our results so far, it looks like of the 140 something people that attended last week, the majority of them were more interested in having intentional investment and more concentration. So we will have a better summary of that that we can give to all of you, because our consultants are still working through all of that feedback. And there's a lot of it. And so we'll be able to provide you with that. Just a quick plug-in, if you're looking for any information about this process, it's wykokck.org/plan-KCK, and that's where we'll put all of this information for you. We'll have videos up there, we'll have summaries, so you'll be able to really dive in and see what people said. So what we wanted to do today, moving on from the Vision Summit, is address kind of one of the elephants in the room. And that is that last week, you know, when we had economic development, the demographics of our meeting were primarily white, primarily male, and that is fine. Those are members of our community. But as you know, we have a very, very diverse community, right? And one of the first meetings we had here, the community members made it very clear that it is important that we get everyone to the table. And we had a Spanish interpreter there, but we didn't have anyone who needed them, right? Because maybe that's not the kind of space that they want to come to. And there's a lot of people that didn't show up to this meeting, and we need to figure out why that is and how we can, moving forward from here, start to engage those people. And so I'll add to this. This is a messy process, okay? It's going to be weird. We've never done this. We've never had this kind of transparency. We've never had this kind of relationship with the community in a planning process before. So bear with me. It's going to be a little bit awkward, but we're trying to make this really, truly the most representative plan we can. Go ahead.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
The process that you mentioned, that is that a process that maybe I'm late because I know this been like 4 months. I'm just
You're good.
based on what you said. Is this a process that is done, like you said, with consultants, and then we, present this to the city commission, or is this something that people are going to have the opportunity to vote on? Say, hey, yeah, this is something that we might for. Is this what this process is about right now?
Sure.
This is what the people are saying, and then we're going to go forward this way. I'm just trying to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So like I said, we have Roger and his team that are essentially compiling all the information. So whether that's data that already exists or all of the conversations that we have, whether that's conversations here or the larger summit, or hopefully what will happen this summer, which I'll get to later on. That's all the feedback that's going to help go into what this plan is made of. And then in Roger the fall, we will be kind of presenting out on what the consultants have developed as their strategy, or right, their suggestions, and based on everyone's feedback. So you'll be able to hear that too.
Just, no, it's first time to this particular kind of group of meetings. Why are you doing this at noon? Why not do it at 5 or 6? And I mean, I think a lot of people would like to be here,
Yep.
but they can't take time off to work.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And we thought about that, and I would just, so we have events like that are going to be later, right? This was something that we normally would have been doing during our workday behind closed doors without the public involved, right? And so we thought that the best way that we could try to open it up, considering that it's still in the middle of the day, was maybe we can grab you on your lunch hour, but 100% like.
And bring the pizza.
And feed you, right? So that's what, you're right. That's why we're also trying to have other events that are going to be after hours, not during the workday for sure. But I hear that. So thank you.
I thank him, because that was part of my question.
Yeah.
My second question is that it's not reaching out to the Northeast area. It wasn't because of Miss Guthrie. I wouldn't even know nothing about it. So it's not reaching our neighborhood. Presidents, as in reaching any of us in our Northeast area.
Yep.
And as you see, that we have been the major area that has been highly taxed and with less of any upgrades in our neighborhood. We're a food desert. I can go on and on, but we need more attention on the Northeast area to get more people out, so you can hear, and people are not planning what they want to do in our neighborhood that we pay taxes on.
Yeah, and okay, so I'll just say, because this is actually gonna lead us into what we're gonna talk about today. The reason we wanted to do this too, and have you all here, is because we hope that because of your connections, because of the relationships you have, the places that you inhabit, whatever community organizations you're involved in, that you can help us reach the people that we are not reaching, right? Because historically, we have not done a very good job at that, right? But we, you know, I am one person. I can't be everywhere, but you are already out there with your neighbors, with your community members, and we need to know, based on your experiences, better ways to go about that. So I think what we would like to do moving forward is, right now, this started in May, right? This just started. It's new. We're trying to adjust and recognize all of our failures early on. So that's kind of what we're doing here, but we want to be able to hopefully develop relationships with the people in this room that can help bring all of that important information to us that we're missing. So today, and I'm shortly going to pass it over to Mina, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about who we're missing, what are the barriers to why we're missing them, and then how do we fix that moving forward? And I'm hoping that you all will be part of that solution. So with that, Mina, I'm going to pass it over to you.
I had a PowerPoint. Also, if you don't have something to write with, we have brought you pens. You might find them useful during this. Maybe you don't have something to write on, you turn on the back of our agendas. Does anybody not have something to write with? Does anybody not have something to write with? Please do the PowerPoint.
Just me, I guess.
Well, this was a process or activity, I guess you could say, on who is missing and why we're missing them. So the point of this activity is I want you to envision somebody in your neighborhood that you know or you think has not been a part of the planning process. And we're going to walk through why, and then also like establish the obstacles and why they're not here, and then later share out what solutions can we offer as the UG to get them to be a part of this process. Sorry for the technical difficulty.
Oh, so I think the biggest obstacles I see is I've been a part of meetings for the last 2 or 3 years. And if you're not retired or self-employed, none of these meetings go according to times that people are off work. Even at noon for lunch. If I work 20 minutes from here, I can't drive over here to the meeting for an hour and then get back to work.
Can you guys think about just having 2 meetings? One gig for people that work during the day, and most for people that work at night. I mean, I know several organizations that tried that, and it really works successfully.
On a Saturday meeting, yes.
Yeah, something after the 9 to 5, something like that.
Also, there's places where you have to be, like if you're having a meeting, most Northeast people are not gonna come way out to the Legends area. They're just not gonna come. Having the meeting, like if you wanna focus on Argentina, you need to have it in Argentina. I mean, you just need to have it in the areas that people are able to get to.
Right. And I know accessibility is going to be a big thing that we're going to talk about, but let's get into the activity. So I have an example. It's the following community member wants to be involved in the planning process. They have unique obstacles that limit their participation. So I'm going to give you an example. And on your own, I want you to write a short description, thinking of somebody in your neighborhood, so somebody personal to you that you know or think has not been a part of the planning process. You're going to identify obstacles. So first, short description, who is the neighbor, what is their life like? Super basic, super brief. And then identify what are the obstacles that this person faces. So my example is Hazel wants to be more involved in our community. She's passionate about disability rights and protections. She has heard about the comprehensive plan and would like to share her thoughts on how protections and considerations for people with disabilities can be included Hazel relies heavily on public transportation and ride sharing due to her own visual impairment. She would love to participate in the comprehensive planning process, but struggles navigating the inaccessible meeting locations. So this is my description of a person that I know from my neighborhood. So then, now that I've written my short description of this person, I'm going to outline what obstacles do I know that Hazel faces and why she cannot be a part of the process right now. So we have a sheet for demographics. So under demographics, I would say Hazel is disabled and heavily reliant on transportation. The disabled is somebody that we may be missing. And then under obstacles, I could say maybe our public transportation isn't reliable. Our locations aren't accessible. Maybe they're not ADA compliant. Maybe the bus location doesn't drop her off somewhere close enough that she can get to. So these are all obstacles that I can think of that would heavily impact Hazel's ability to participate. So now I'm going to open it up to you all. I want you to write a short, brief description, someone in your neighborhood, maybe like Hazel, maybe somebody who's speaking, who is being missed in this process. And I'll give you a little bit of time to write your description.
Got a question for you?
With this situation going on, what about this ISIS? What is?
Right, right.
Like what solutions?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have a period after where we're gonna share out some solutions that we can offer to different people that decide to share. So if you wanted to share your description of your person, identify the obstacles, together we would come back and offer solutions that would be beneficial to her, that the UG could provide. Does that make sense? Yes, go ahead.
I got mine.
Oh, you're gonna go now? Okay, go ahead.
I'm ready if you are.
Can we give everybody like 5 minutes to write their brief description of your neighbor?
Or do you need to hear Gunner's example for guidance?
What you say?
Do you want to hear Gunner's example as like another example to hear? Yeah, okay, go ahead, Gunner.
My neighbor Patty functions as our block captain. She knows every single thing that happens on our block. Maybe too much information on our block. But Patty's a little bit older, so she's not technically proficient. I don't think she would ever hear any notice on anything other than her TV or the radio.
Okay, so technical,
Word of mouth,
technological barrier.
correct.
Okay,
Digital divide.
digital divide.
So now that Gunnar has shared his personal person that he knows from his neighborhood, and he's offered us obstacles, together, what solutions do you think the UD could offer to Patty that could get her out of pizza and planning?
Mail. Transit.
Mail, transit,
I even think providing a recap of the meetings, in a paper form that's gonna be delivered or something.
like physical media.
What we heard, I like
Yeah.
that.
Think like, I was thinking about a store, I don't really have like a store, I'm talking about like a private citizen, me living on their work for very long time. Going to school there, official school in Wyandotte, bus to Wyandotte. I think the problem is obstacle wise, and like I said, there's probably a solution that we all need to come up, put it together, I don't have a solution, but I think the biggest obstacle that you have in that one demographic, I can't speak for all the Kansas City, of course, on you people that were around me, is trust. They do not trust the government. So when you have a conversation with someone like yesterday, literally, I was talking about trying to call somebody out and doing something stupid as a private citizen. And then he was like, hey, you know, East Patrol, they crooked as heck, and yada, yada, yada. It is the trust that's not there. So how are you going to bring someone to something like this? What are they doing? A planning meeting? Man, one won't go do a planning meeting with someone that's, you know, it's point of barrel. Not doing that. They ain't never done nothing for me, and I'm not gonna go here and you know, entertain it. So that's really one of the biggest issues that I see. And I don't know if people live there, they probably think back off, but that's what I've experienced coming up.
Yeah, do you want to add on to that?
Not to that, but to the solution, I was thinking more of the UGTV. So put it on there because he talked about how TV is a way that you listen or have to be virtual. Some people are better virtually when we talk about not being able. My example was a person who works from home and they can't get here and do the meeting and get back to work on time. But if we had a virtual as well as in person, some can be in person, some can be virtual, and they can speak that way. So that multiple ways of getting the message out at the same time. And I think if enough people heard the message like that and they heard it on UGTV, they may find a way to get to the meeting because they want their voice to be heard.
I'm glad you said that. So I thank you. I think you was a plug for me. So I helped manage the UGTV. So thank you for bringing that up. We actually are in the process of kind of revamping it. Literally completely revamping it. So we also, a lot of people currently, we thought we only had access to, you only had Spectrum. And a lot of people, I don't know, if everyone's starting to kind of go through streaming methods. A lot of people don't have Spectrum. So I'll now have an option, and I will be sending something out to where you can access it through like any of the Roku, Apple TV, all of the streaming options, as well as Spectrum channel 2. So that's something that we definitely want to start utilizing. So that should be coming out in June. So thank you for that.
I don't mean to be rude to you, UG people, but everybody here knows that UG has long history of not really coming through on things. Kind of what he was saying back there. I think if you really want participation, active, real, valuable, need to do something to step up the game, show some results, do something. I mean, I used to work for the city. I could tell you how many times people say, oh, you were supposed to do this, the city was supposed to do that. That never happened. And that's what he was talking about as far as not trusting the government. It's like you go to these things, a lot of people, this is, kind of heady stuff.
Yes.
Sometimes, some of us can get into that kind of thing. Sometimes we need to see results, something tangible that's proving that we're making progress.
I didn't miss that.
Demographic, again, back to that area that everybody's speaking of, Argentina as well as that area. The obstacles, we've already kind of hit some of the obstacles, but let's talk about some of the solutions. A lot of people they go to church, and I think the best way to get out is to some of the pastoral, have all the meetings with the pastors, and then let them. That's just one option. I think that might be, at least they can get the message. That is probably one of the most viable options that I know as a solution. And then having a meeting in the Northeast area. I'm not saying the pastors are want to take anything, but that would be the realm that I would take. And then you also have the solution of mass texting, because you have everybody's numbers. Max testing, those solutions that I did do when I ran for office, and it works, does work.
Does anybody have any other solutions maybe outside of the church that has a good grasp and firm trust with the community?
I'd suggest, kind of like what's been said, meeting the community where they're at. So like at the farmers markets and things like that are around, having booths, at some of the festivals that happen, like Cinco de Mayo festival, like having a booth there, like to especially reach the non-English speaking communities would be good, and just also show like a presence. It's really easy to make a boogeyman out of people that you can't necessarily put a face to. So having more, presence in the community and meeting the community where they're at would probably be helpful.
This do pertain for that, and it may not, but for the city would be, like the street department, like when it snow real bad and be icy, my street is so icy. For the whole fall and adds a city to public health, because I am a disabled person as well. And, I had to go to the mayor, to tell them, look, the streets are bad. You can't get it up and down, but we gotta do the main street, we don't have enough help. Come and do your main streets. Well, I don't think that's right. If we're paying the taxes, they should really hire more people to come and get the streets with ice, not on people putting the stuff on there. I think that's no more than right. I can't get to work, I have to figure out how to get to work, streets are so icy to where they still ain't game in 3 or 4 days and it's still out there. So I think that's wrong.
So in that sense, your obstacle is the roads, not having safe transportation routes.
One department, if you don't have trust in one department, that's what I'm
There's
hearing.
3, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have trust in one department, it's gonna be hard to trust another department because all of them are at failure.
And I kind of understand what she's saying too on that. So that, I think that's, I mean, I think that the departments need to, y'all need to have a departmental, interdepartmental meeting. And be like, look, we need y'all to hold up to y'all word, your bar, everything, because we're out here trying to do this. I know in Kansas City, Missouri, we have each department come out to the community and explain whatever they got going on. We call it First Fridays down in the 19th and Vine Street area. And each department comes out, head department comes out. Your departments don't come out, we don't know who y'all are, it's a problem. And I love that this is going on. Gunahan, I love that this is going on, okay? I love this. So I hate to say, we love y'all. Thank you for this.
Yeah, and we appreciate your feedback. We understand that there's public distrust, and we are hoping that this is another chance to show that the UG can provide and take care of and rebuild that trust for the people that live here. We all live here too, and we all feel the exact same way, experience the exact same problems, and so we do have an invested interest, and I hope this will be an opportunity to show that.
I think for my neighbor's biggest complaints is that when we do call in about the trash or grass cutting or any of that, what the government says is that, oh, we don't have anybody to cut the grass. When you own the property, oh, we don't have anybody to pick up the trash. Well, if I didn't have nobody cut my grass, you would find me. Yeah. But no, you don't come down and we don't get shovel removal, snow removal, like she said. We don't get new sidewalks. You don't get taxes raised. Yeah. And then there's like, okay, but then when we drive past our neighborhood, we see everything going on in other people's neighborhoods. So you feel like you paying higher taxes for other people to have and you don't get. So then you just get discouraged. And I'm saying it from a person who I've been for 3 years and I've seen nothing but meetings. Yeah. So it's just like meeting after meeting after meeting. And I mean, I'm starting to get discouraged, but I know I still have to show up. But when you start talking about in a neighborhood where most people's highest education than that, and then you're sitting here, you wanted me, I already got struggles. You want me to take off work to come to hear you talk about nothing with no improvement for 2 years, a 5-year plan. Let's talk about what can you do in the next couple of months. Give me something. I need an immediate victory. But there's no gratification anywhere. It's just, oh, we're gonna meet today, we're gonna meet next week, and we're gonna meet, and we're gonna meet. But I still got trash on the ground. I still got no grass cut, and it's the government's property. And your answer is, oh, well, we don't have an employee. But now you say, oh, we got a 25-year plan. Well, let's start with cut your grass. The county owned first. Beautify what we have. First. Better. You're not even working on the basic stuff that's in our community now. And Parkwood been needing a pool. I'm sorry to speak out of time, but Parkwood, that pool's been there since I'm 55 years old. And they had not one upgrade. And that's a major issue because that's the only pool in our whole community that services all of Wyandotte County. And it was raggedy when we was little.
Well, I see two types of families in my neighborhood. Those who are apathetic for all the reasons that you all are saying. They've been around for a long time and they don't believe that their voice will ever be heard and paid attention to. And then I see a lot of working families. I see them leaving early, coming back late, probably so they might not speak English. So the obstacles are everybody's busy, the lack of trust you all have mentioned, and time. Like I just happened to have taken a vacation day so I could take care of my overgrown grounds. So I think a potential solution would be to reach out to the person who heads up each community group, right? Like in my neighborhood, it's a Facebook group. And give them talking points, like tell the story that you all are telling now, like we have a history of not paying attention. We're trying to now, right? We're trying to correct the course that we've been on. And then give them talking points for people who don't trust and why they should give the UG another chance and come to these meetings when they can. And have that neighborhood person, and it might take knocking on people's door, right? There's lots of people who I see everything on social media. I would love to get on social media, but since it's where I see everything, I have to stay on it. So it's a sticky wicket, and it might take a personal invitation from someone who you recognize in your neighborhood to extend that invitation.
Just real quick, sorry. I know we have a couple of neighborhood group leaders, members here. Is that something that you would do if we worked with you?
I'd like to know where the meetings are in my neighborhood.
You don't even know where your
I
meetings
have
are.
no idea.
Can I have a plug real quick?
Go for it. Okay, so with livable neighborhoods, if you, I don't know how to do this in an organized fashion today, but some areas don't have a neighborhood group or any neighborhood association there. Some do, some are more active than others. But if you're wondering who that is, where that is, who you would go to, if somehow maybe we could get your name on a list or something like that, I can get that information out to you, or Mina can get that information out to you. We also have, and here's another like weekday, during the day meeting, but we have our livable neighborhoods task force meetings, and that's typically channeled towards neighborhood leaders, community partners, other departments within the UG. We have it on Thursday, on the fourth Thursday of the month, from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. So in the same room. So if you happen to be available this Thursday at 9 a.m., feel free to come by.
It's hybrid though.
And it's hybrid. We do have it online as well. So
Is it gonna be worth it?
it's typically more of an informational meeting. So we have a speaker or two at the beginning. So this month we have somebody from our community health department or public health department talking about their community health assessment that was completed, as well as urban heat island. And we have somebody from our community development department speaking about now I'm blanking on what they're speaking about, but they're speaking, and then we go around and have updates from police, fire, district attorney's office, mayor's office, neighborhood resource center, planning, different departments. And then we have time for community announcements typically. And then it's also just a good place if you come in person to network with people, especially from what?
This Thursday?
Yep, the next one is this Thursday at 9 a.m.
Will any of the UGs be up in there that can let us ask questions to them?
Yeah, there will be different, I don't know who all will specifically be there or this week, but we do have different departments represented there, in time for community questions and announcements and things like that.
Can I say on behalf of that meeting, it is a good thing to go to. One of the best benefits that I find is that not only do you hear from the sheriff's department, the DA, the fire department, the different government agencies, the school district. You hear about what's going on, but then when she talked about people being able to give their own updates, I work with the workforce center. So if we have something going on, we can make an announcement, and then everybody that's on there can get that announcement. If there are different programs that are coming up and they need to let going on, they can get that out there. You also have an opportunity to ask additional questions to the people that are speaking. So if something you want to know about, you can ask that. A lot of times, it's a question. My question is always, so what next? So what comes? They ask that everybody put their contact information and information on the chat, so you have that available. So if it's something you want particular that maybe you don't want to talk to the whole group and you want to get that information out, or you have your own sewing company and you want to let people know about your business and where you are and what you do, you have an opportunity to say that, and then people in the community know to help build your business. And so it's a good thing all the way around, regardless of what you're looking for. So a lot of people, the best part about it is you can come here and come to the meeting, but at that time of day, sometimes I can't get out, but I can turn my computer on and I can log in and I can participate through Zoom. Yeah.
Yes.
So
We also record it, so if you can't, we put it on YouTube, but we can do a better job of sharing it out. If you can't make it virtually or in person, you can still watch what happened. And do it that way. So And then we always include, contact information and things like that. So if you do watch it and you're like, hey, I've still got questions about this thing, they can come to our office, or me, and if we don't know the answer, we can find out who does.
I have a possible solution for it. I'm sorry, babe, you got one.
About people that's not attending the meetings, a lot of people that I hear, they either don't know about it at all, or they forgot and they missed it. They missed it.
Okay.
I think that we could do a better marketing campaign, more aggressive marketing other than just Facebook, especially for Plan KC. So people know just how important this is to get their opinion. I think it has to be a more aggressive.
Can I make a plug? So as everyone in this room, can we have you all be champions with it? I agree. Like, but Facebook is, we do Facebook, like UGTV, and like, I don't know, if it we make it like, there's some printouts of like, just some upcoming events. So if we have extra, if we can forward you those and you forward them out, like you said, like Alyssa said, everyone knows 10 more people that you can push it out to, that would help us, because I help with the marketing and our public relations stuff, and sometimes it's hard to get things out. We push and push and push, like we had a budget meeting Saturday at Eisenhower, we only had 7 people come, but we pushed it out like crazy, but only 7 people.
So what about other advertising other than UGTV, regular TV?
If budget wise, like we do what we can do, because it's a team of 4 of us, so I always push it out. I tell as many people, hey, can you make sure you push it out on your network, or tell, if it's a text you can send to someone, that helps us a lot. We
Each
truly
one get one.
Yeah.
Each and every got one, it would increase, and when they come, and each and every one's kind of like church.
Yeah.
Kind of like these meetings, which have been growing.
Right,
yeah.
So when you say, I've only heard about it because so-and-so told me, well, good deal.
They're here.
I'm like, now they tell somebody.
Idea that came across, I think it's a good idea, but it's like go for it in between, and I want to be careful on the political realm. But I discovered when I did think about running for something around here, and I kind of discouraged there. We have wards in the, y'all know that? Like wards, like down in Texas. No one knows, right? So I did this research, and I found out, we're set up like everybody else, but we don't use it. And you're supposed to have a committee man. You're supposed to have a precinct man. You're supposed to have these kind of people that are actually engaging with the local community, kind of like your first elected official in the military would say, maybe your sergeant or your squad leader, that you reach out to and say, bro, my sidewalk messed up, man. You got the connection to the government. Can you please, and these are elected positions. When you go to the polls, you can write somebody's name down, or someone can run for it and get on that ballot for it. So my question will be, right, not to be too political, but I think that is what's missing in each individual precinct and or ward. And if that is something that UG could invest into, maybe like a grant or something, and get those people up there and say, hey, we can give you a grant, maybe a gas card or whatever monthly to get out there. I know you can't pay nobody, but I'm just saying, something to give to say, hey, we need this connection to the community, because if I come as a police officer, if I come as a commissioner or somebody like that, I'm a little reluctant to talk, but if Joe Willie, excuse me for the name, next door is the guy that's very trustworthy and he can walk around and talk to people in the neighborhood, but maybe Joe Willie is the guy to bridge the gap between 17 and Quindale and downtown. So
you're saying you're our guy.
I did try to run for that one too, but then we don't get any feedback. I'm saying, that's the disconnect.
I mean, you're our guy for playing KCK right now, right?
I just thought it was a good idea. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's a good idea.
But
Just a quick thing, couldn't you utilize the mailings that the UG does? For example, or tax bills, could you put something in that when you're sending those out?
Or the BPU bill.
Or the BPU bills, put a flyer in there. Everybody gets that. That would be very simple to coordinate. They're already mailing them out anyway. We'd have no extra mailing costs, just the cost for the flyer. Put in.
Good point.
Like a message center, like a message. Just a couple of things, like one of the obstacles and solutions is, I've seen, like, I know my neighbor, other than the language barrier. Her option, like her issue is like she has 3 young kids at home. And both work, childcare is not really an option, so maybe working with some of the neighborhood groups to provide childcare at some of these events. I know, budgeting and everything is super tight. So creating, childcare programs on top of it, but there are already like community organizations out there. And then also to the precinct. So I work with the Wyandotte County Democrats. All the precinct people, that's filled by the county party, which has been ran by the state party on the Republican and the Democrat side. I know that we are actively trying to get people, at least Democrats, that, to fill these empty positions. So we want to talk later.
That's why I want to stay with politics, so I can't officially try to talk about no politics, but I'm just, as a private citizen that has lived there for most of his life, right, I'm just kind of. That's something that, and I don't know how you close the gap between the political realm and the official realm. It's really, really dangerous.
It's a really difficult thing that we've been facing trying to find these. So, we're always open to solutions, but that's definitely, it's a little bit separate from this. I don't know how much UG can get involved, but if y'all can.
Yeah, and actually to your point too, I just want to say, one of the failures that we had last week at the Vision Summit is that we had Spanish interpreters there. And then I announced that we had them in English, right, which is totally unhelpful. And so one of our police officers who was there, Officer Santana or Captain Santana, who speaks Spanish, came up to me and he's like, you can't do that because they're not going to know what you're saying, right? And then we got into a conversation with the interpreter about how maybe we just need a Spanish only event. But to your point, we actually are now partnering with El Centro to have a Spanish only event. They're going to provide childcare and food. So that's July.
That's wonderful. Okay, you know how when you pump gas and they put the TV on, maybe they can put it on right there.
Or maybe we could afford a radio spot. Maybe.
A radio spot?
Maybe. In the spirit of getting into other media.
Okay, I think someone over, you had it.
She had said it. I think that parents are the biggest demographics.
Parents.
Parents with young children.
So something that could be great, there's a lot of local podcasts, a lot of people that do local podcasts. In the area, and those are free.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of times you can call the community centers around and talk to them and even almost partner with them without an official partnership.
Right.
For them to put in their newsletters, do all that, maybe how many that they have in their community. That would be a good way to reach the community.
Demographics, we forgot about veterans.
Okay, good, yeah.
We also need young people.
Yes, we have not talked about young people yet either.
Unfortunately, community centers are no longer like they were. They're rented out to Johnson County. Our own kids are not allowed to come away like they should.
I wanted to say one thing on
our community centers,
Which one?
all of them within our community.
We run them out?
For other entities and projects are no longer able to just come in and just play. It is what it is. They do that in Australia. Argentina's one. And they get ready to close down.
Does anybody have anything else that they want to add? Final thoughts on demographics, events, obstacles?
We haven't really talked about, like, we just had veterans, and young adults come up. We haven't really talked about those spaces too much.
I mean, if you're truly trying to reach young adults, the best way is gonna be through schools. That's, the kids are all there, so I mean, that's. The community service, kids, get a workforce center, we have a youth program. You can, if you're wanting, you something to get in touch with the programs that are going on. Also, another resource would be like, and this is a plug for them, work for them. But Department of Children and Family Services have a resource fair on October. June 6th, open for the community. That's something that, the planning committee should be at, to talk to people about what's going on. To get at the table.
I mean, Juneteenth is one, I think we're gonna have, you always miss, but Juneteenth is something that should be an area of time that you can reach out. I don't know. last year.
And then just as a different point of view, I'm an employer in the area. And we're moving right down the street from KCK and we are bringing in, 700 employees, give or take,
Okay.
right? So that may be a way to reach out to the community. I write a newsletter every month for my entire company.
Okay.
So, you could reach out to the bigger employers in the area or even the smaller ones and just be like, hey, if you're letting your employees know, put this in your newsletter. You'd be surprised how many people that work in areas, even if they don't live in the area, still want to kind of be involved, because we spend more time here than we do at home.
Just one more question. Like when when guys get out of jail, or prison, what is it that they can have here in the community that can help them where they can get back up on their feet, where they can be able to get part of that job? Yeah, transitional living, yeah, where is that? We don't have one, we started one, I could not fund it personally, and I couldn't get it. See, and so these kids is getting out, they just get back on their way, whereas they need some help. They need a case manager, they need, Frank Center is all right, my doctor is all right, but it's not, whereas they can get a building to be able to. Because all it does is bring them back out to the street and go back to doing the things they should. I don't need to do. You can't get a job. They can't get a job.
I know someone's here from the community college. I'm wondering if they have like a student body organization that would be interested in engaging in local issues and politics, right? So that might be a more captive audience than a high school group. Not that we shouldn't address the high school, but that's a, you're in college or trying to find yourself in the world, you're trying to be engaged, that whole thing. There might be some existing energy there that we could tap into. And Donnelly, sorry, yeah, that's too.
Yeah, you're right. Gunnar, the college and the academic advising, they have returning to citizenship programs.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
And they work collaboratively with, help me on the organization name that works with, those returning, it's escaping me, Reach Out From Within. And those are established organizations that help folks who are getting out of the system launch.
Okay.
With support services.
And that's at KCKCC?
Mhm.
Okay.
Does Donnelly have something like that?
Yes, they do too.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was recently some great news stories about Donnelly's program in the news. If you Google it, you'll see it. And
Is there a way to get veterans registered maybe through like, when you get your tags instead of things, you give them your D-214, you get a veteran tag. That's statewide. Is there somehow that maybe UG or like the locality, right, can plug into that and figure out veteran demographics and then say, because I know veterans always want to serve. So maybe a small solution problem is when you don't have volunteers,
Right.
like the petty man and all this other stuff that we could be doing, right? You can be like, hey, we got this volunteer opportunity here. We give you credit and give you a certificate or something. That in turn can help the veteran community, because if you're a veteran getting out of the military or you're trying to get back on your feet, right? Then you can use that on your resume to say, hey, I was engaged in my community. I organized this, I did that. And veterans always just being needed, because that's you come from a certain background. That was just my idea.
Okay.
They put veteran status on your driver's license.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's the state of Kansas.
Yeah, the state of
It's a little bit different than, like the case of case, you know what I mean? So that's why I was like, maybe that can, but there's a legality, I think, for different purposes in government. And if you just gonna tap into the state of Kansas, then and then I'm pretty sure you gotta get privacy releases and stuff like that. So I think it's a bigger spectrum here, but it was just like an idea, maybe somehow y'all can figure out with some of these lawmakers or something to figure out how to tap into that. But I think it's a little more complex.
Okay.
Okay, so we only have like a couple minutes left and there's a meeting in here right after us, so I want to be respectful of them. But I appreciate all of your thoughts. I want you to know this isn't like a closed door, like if there's thoughts that come to you, you can always reach out to me. I just wanted to share the resources again. You go to wyhokcc.org/PlanKCK, you're gonna find all the information about everything going on. You're gonna find my contact information. You can always reach out to me. If you just Google search UG calendar, you're also gonna see all of the other things going on. Did you have something else?
Well, I was gonna say, this is what people to the website.
Yeah.
To subscribe. I was gonna say, on the homepage on our website at ypok.org, at the very bottom is subscribe to us. And that's kind of exactly, you can actually list the type of information you're looking for information on Plain KC or livable neighborhoods, age, and you can actually segment what type of news you would like to receive from us. Although it's via email, but it'll at least keep kind of in the loop. We want to make sure we kind of stay connected.
When's the next meeting, Mike?
So the next one is on the 30th, and so my thoughts are for that is like taking all of this, how do we now implement these, right? How do we utilize these, right? So that's the next step, meetings on the 30th, same place, also hybrid. If you can't come, there is hybrid, but from there, we'll also talk about what this meeting looks like in the future. Do we want to do this monthly? Do we want to do it on a different day, different time, all that kind of stuff, right? This was kind of our, guinea pig status for all of this, right? So now that we have this, it's kind of like, let's build a strategy to reach all these people and how can we use these solutions, okay? That's on the 30th, same time, same place. I appreciate you all for coming. If you have any questions, please reach out to me at any time, okay? Thank you. Yeah, go for it.
For people that attend.
Yes.